Normally, when I'm entering into a WrestleMania, I usually take a look at the match card for that year's WrestleMania, and I kind of look at the matches and I kind of try to pick out which match from that card has the biggest impact moving forward for the WWE. For example, at this past WrestleMania, I looked at two matches. I looked at Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, and I also looked at Roman Reigns versus CM Punk, both of which had major impacts on the results of those match moving forward for the WWE. Obviously, Roman Reigns became the new World Heavyweight Champion, and we had Obafemi, who at the time we thought had retired Brock Lesnar. And as we are inching closer and closer to Clash in Italy, you guys already know my predictions for the matches. If you haven't checked out my preview video, go do so and then come right back to this one. You know the drill by now. But when I was working on that video and I was looking through the card, I started to do the same thing that I would do for a WrestleMania card. And considering the star power that is on just this one night of a WWE PLE, I started to think the same way as I did for WrestleMania, where I looked at the matches for Clash in Italy and I wondered to myself, which one is going to have the bigger impact on WWE? So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Clash in Italy card once again, and I'm going to give my thoughts on which match I think has the biggest impact on the WWE moving forward. But real quickly, before we get too far ahead in the video, I want to say that if you are a WWE fan, consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. That is, all we post is WWE related content. So if you are a WWE fan, again, consider subscribing. It's free. You can always change your mind later. So when I take a look at the Clash in Italy match card, there is one match that jumps off the page in terms of significance, in terms of impact for what lies ahead in the WWE. And we're going to get to that match a little bit later, but we're going to start off by talking about Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, because the same way I felt like their match at WrestleMania had a massive impact on the WWE, I think this one could as well. Maybe not necessarily to the degree that we saw at a WrestleMania, but I still do think that the impact from this match could weigh heavily into where we go next with the WWE. Because if Brock Lesnar ends up winning, then you would think that that sets up a round 3, probably at SummerSlam, where Brock Lesnar could look to retire at home. But if Obafemi wins, then you have a guy that has beaten Brock Lesnar twice. And not just any guy, but a guy that is still so young and new to the main roster. Making an impact like that would send shockwaves through the rest of the WWE. You already know my predictions for it. I do think that Brock Lesnar is going to win, and I do think that we're going to end up getting a round 3 at SummerSlam. And how is that going to impact the rest of the WWE, and how is that going to impact the build for SummerSlam? One match that could have a lot of impact moving forward is the Cody Rhodes and Gunther match. In my preview video, I talked about the possibility of Randy Orton returning, possibly Royce Keys getting involved. And I talked about the only way that I saw Cody Rhodes losing was if Randy Orton came back and cost him the title. That would obviously send some pretty big shockwaves throughout the rest of the WWE, because that would mean that Gunther is the new undisputed champion. And that would obviously most likely mean that we do end up getting Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton once again, and hopefully this time they will learn their lesson by that and keep all of the outside shenanigans out the door, and we just have a feud that focuses on the history and the brotherhood that is shared between Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. And again, I say this all the time when I talk about this feud, the match doesn't need to be for the title. Obviously, the whole story is Randy going after number 15, but the history between the two is what the story should be. It should not just be about Randy Orton going after number 15. And obviously you have the women's IC title match and the women's championship match. And obviously those two matches carry a pretty significant load from the women's division, but I don't necessarily think that they would have the ground-shaking effect like some of these other matches do. Obviously, if Sol Ruca ends up defeating Becky Lynch for the women's IC title, that would be a pretty big deal. If Jade Cargill takes the women's title back off of Rhea Ripley, who knows what we could be getting there? Possibly leaning towards a match with Charlotte Flair. I do think that is the end goal for that match, regardless of who wins. But I just don't think that the impact and again, just the ground shaking ability that some of these other matches do. And the one match that I legitimately think could change everything for the WWE right now is Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu. In my preview video, I said that Roman Reigns was going to win, but I was very, very fascinated by the idea of Jacob Fatu winning the Tribal Combat match. Jacob Fatu winning the Tribal Combat match would mean that he is the Tribal Chief now, and Roman Reigns said it himself. It would be chaos if that happened, and I gotta be honest, I want to see what that chaos looks like. What would it look like for Roman Reigns to acknowledge Jacob Fatu? What would it look like for the Usos to acknowledge Jacob Fatu as the Tribal Chief? Shoot, what would it look like for Solo Sikoa to acknowledge Jacob Fatu as the Tribal Chief? I am absolutely fascinated by that idea. And yes, I did pick Roman Reigns to win, but I'm not gonna lie, I would not be angry at all if Jacob ends up winning here, because I want to see what the chaos would look like. Because you would have this massive shift in power from Roman Reigns to Jacob Fatu. And obviously, Jacob would run things a little more different than Roman does. And again, I would just be fascinated to see how all of that plays out and what Jacob Fatu would look like as the Tribal Chief, calling the shots for the family. Maybe he would run things like Roman Reigns did. Maybe he would do things differently, and he would not necessarily be the terrible person that Roman Reigns was as the Tribal Chief. Maybe it creates a scenario in which the Usos actually maybe turn on Roman Reigns again, or maybe we see a scenario where the Usos don't acknowledge Jacob Fatu and they try to stick with Roman Reigns. And if this is the direction that WWE wants to take this new chapter of the Bloodline storyline in, I would be all here for it. Again, think of the impact that Cody Rhodes beating Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 had. Remember what that feeling was like, knowing that Roman Reigns was no longer the undisputed champion. Remember that feeling of seeing Cody Rhodes carrying that undisputed championship for the first time. I think that something very, very similar feeling could happen here if Jacob ended up winning. So again, while all the other matches do have their impact and they do have their significance in the grand scheme of things in the WWE, when I take a look at something that could truly shake the foundation of the WWE, it lies within the Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns match for the World Heavyweight Championship, which is a Tribal Combat match. So this is where I want to hear from you guys. Let me know down below in the comments, which match from Clash in Italy do you think could have the biggest impact on the grand scheme of things in the WWE? And also let me know what you think about my thoughts on Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu. Do you think that that match has the significance, has the impact to it that I make it out to be? So as always, leave your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. And while you're down there, swing by the description and click the Linktree link. That is the only link in the description for a reason. That is because it will take you to all of the social media platforms for this channel. I do strongly suggest going and checking out our X page. Besides YouTube, I am most active over on X. We do updates for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, and the PLEs. And if you're looking for even more content, go check out our Instagram and our TikTok pages. Over there, you can expect clips from these videos, and it's just another place for me to post when I do upload a video on here to YouTube. So if you do enjoy these videos and you're looking for some extra content, again, Linktree link in the description. It'll take you to wherever you want to go. So with all that said and done, that is going to do it for this video here. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button. Again, both are free. Both really help out the channel a lot. And of course, if you have made it to this point of the video, I want to say thank you very, very much for taking the time out of your busy day to watch these videos here, because it genuinely does mean the world to me. And as always, stay tuned for more WWE content coming in the future. We'll see you next time.